Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come both in Hindi and English language, and in the evening the PIB videos come both in Hindi and English. And do not miss any of the lesson. These are having important MCQs. We are discussing them in much depth, and according to the examination we are discussing important points here. Okay, so do not miss these lessons. And the articles also, the issues are based on some important facts. Maybe the implication is there on the static portion. Maybe in polity, if we are discussing the CGI issue, then the articles related to constitution, the provisions, and the master of the roster system, and all these interpretations, they will be crucial for the prelims also. Okay, in the case of ISIS and all, the question that I'm giving to you regarding the territories, regarding the other issues, so all things will remain important for the prelims also. Okay, so that's important. Next, these are the important courses by StudyIQ. These are updated one, saving lakhs of your rupees, and stay at your home, study peacefully. You see, peace is the thing that you need, because peace will be needed if you want to work with your mind in a 100% efficient way, because your mind cannot work without peace. That is the precondition there, and you can be at peace only when you are achieving your expected goals and the target that you have set for yourself. You are going into that particular direction, but you can go towards that direction only when you are consistent in your performance, and there is no ignorance, there is no lack in your effort, and that makes you confident. So your good level of confidence means you're not overconfident and you are not depressed. So that level makes you consistent in your performance, and this is how you become successful after a period of time. So this process goes on consistently for a particular phase. So for that, what you will need that this consistent calm you maintain, and you can maintain when there is no burden of your work and you are interested in your work. If you are not interested in your work and you are getting distracted, means you have some kind of ignorance or there is some lack in your effort. If you are making your effort the best effort, then you are interested, and if you are interested, then there would be no distractions. When we are hearing 2-3 noises, but if we want to listen one particular voice, then we focus on it, then we do not hear other voices, we only hear that voice, and that would be clear to us. So in the same way, we need to focus. If we are interested in getting something, then we should be focused on that thing, and at that time nothing can distract us. If you are getting distracted, that means there is lack of your effort and you are not completely interested in that particular thing. Okay, so the distractions are a result of your weaknesses, your own ignorances, and your lack of interest and effort. Okay, so nothing else is the reason of this these distractions and all. And you see, divide your work in smaller parts and make small goals first, then go towards bigger and bigger goals, and this is how you maintain your confidence and you raise your level of confidence and you progress in your work. This is the way. Otherwise you are never getting success with a knee-jerk reaction. You cannot say that for 2 months you did not study anything, and today I'm going to start the studies, and for 20 hours a day I will study, and for after 1 month's preparation I will clear the prelims. This will never happen. Okay, never go for these kind of tricks, and never accumulate the burden for the future. Always try to do something today, and always try to lessen your burden, because burden is gonna create a lot of pressure on your mind, and that time your mind cannot remain calm, and you will not be at peace. And if you will not be at peace, you won't be able to understand anything, you won't be able to focus or something like that. So always divide your work and take small steps, then go towards the faster options. In the same way that engine starts first gear, then a particular speed, after second gear more speed, third gear more speed. So this is how you become fast in your progress. You cannot just think that I'm gonna run now and I'm standing this particular place, and now I'm going to run at my fastest speed. You will certainly fall down. This happens psychologically also. So please take care of all these situations, and these are all my experiences, all my practical advices to you. So now the lesson. The MCQs that I gave to you yesterday, International Air Transport Association, it's certainly a trade association of the world's airlines. It's not a UN specialized agency. Okay, so this is a correct statement. Second, IATA supports airline activity and helps formulate industrial policy and standards. That's correct. Headquarters is there in Canada, but not in Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital of Canada. It's there in Quebec, in Montreal. So Montreal is the very important city. And second is wrong. First is right statement. So answer would be A here. Next, ICAO. This is the UN's specialized agency. There are 14 specialized agency of UN, and ICAO is for that. And CORSIA, this was a particular initiative by ICAO only, and they were taking care of the climate change issue and the pollutants which are released by these aircrafts and all. So it was regarding that, and they were setting targets that these emissions, they should come down heavily, and regarding that, this CORSIA was there. It was not for the cargo movement. Okay, this was in news 2 years back. So only one is the correct answer here. Second is a wrong statement. Now, government's think tank Niti Aayog has agreed to the proposal of the Dental Council of India, which had sought to allow dentists to practice as general physicians. You go to doctors for many ailments and all, and he writes medicines to you. So these are general physicians. These are not specific specialists. Okay, there are heart specialists. There are these orthopedicians, ophthalmologists and all. These are specific ones, but general physicians, they are writing medicines and all. So now dentists are going to be general physicians when they are doing some additional courses with their dental course. And now Niti Aayog has accepted this demand from Dental Council of India, because too many dentists are unemployed, and the lack of doctors is a real scary situation in India. The norm is there that for every 1,000 people there should be a doctor. This should be the ratio, but that's never maintained in India, and sometimes it is 20, 30, 40,000 people, and they are not finding any doctor in the area. And this is totally imbalanced situation, where in the rural areas there are no doctors, and in the urban areas there may be many doctors. So this is a acute shortage of these doctors. According to a number in lakhs, we are lacking doctors here. IMA, Indian Medical Association, it has not welcomed. It has actually heavily opposed this move. They are saying that we are being experts in this area. We are studying for that for years, and how dentists can take this particular place, and what is the meaning of this additional course. This is not correct, although the acute shortage is there, but this is there because there are no postgraduate seats in the government colleges, and it is all a private business, and people are paying crores of rupees, and they are becoming doctors in this country. So it's a very much a problematic situation, and there must be a heavy increase in the seats in the governmental PG colleges. That is the important need today, that is gonna give solutions here. Okay, so second is wrong, first is again wrong. So D, none is the correct answer here. Startup Fields Unicorn Company, the company, it's a privately held startup and valued over $1 billion. You see, some companies, they are extremely successful, and within no time they become so successful that their value that crosses $1 billion. These are called unicorn companies. Every startup aspirant that dreams of becoming a unicorn company. So that is important. And this year we have heard a lot about startups and angel tax, venture capital funding and all. So these are all related issues. Angel taxes, when startups, they need investment, but they cannot give collaterals and all, and they have to show their own potential, but who is gonna believe that? So some family friends or maybe their peers and all, they may give funding. This is angel funding, angel investment, and it is not for the profit. So these are angel investors, and there is a particular tax on that funding, that is angel tax, and government was reluctant to cancel that angel tax norm. Okay, so it was important. One more important thing is that venture capital investment. What is this venture capital investment? When professional investors, they are looking for profits, and they are analyzing the potential of the startups, and when they are professionally investing in that particular thing in the starting, then it is called venture capital investment. Okay, so that's also on a rise in India right now, and that's important. One more thing is that anchor funding or anchor investment. What is that? When any company decides to go public, and it starts to sell its shares, and it brings IPO, initial public offer it brings. So before bringing IPO, it wants to create an image in the market, and it wants to improve its trust in the people. Maybe people are not knowing about the company, it's a new company, so they will find some reliable people, very famous people, and they are gonna invest here. Okay, and these famous investors, they will give anchor investment to these companies, so that in IPO people will buy the shares of that company. So these are anchor investments, anchor funding. Okay, so that's important. D none is the answer, because these are not given in the options. Next, Italian is not there in the UN's official language. 6 languages are there. Russian is there, Arabic is there, English, French, Spanish, and Chinese language is there. So A would be the answer here. Next, World English Day is on 23rd of April. Now, these are the words, many words today that are found in the articles, and you should have this compilation, and you should be using all these words into sentences, so that the vocabulary becomes very rich. Now, these articles, we will discuss this important article related to the issue of CJI and the sexual harassment case, and the issue of natural justice, and the institutional integrity and its credibility issues are there, and the due process, that particular issue is discussed here. Very important for the GS paper 2. And heed Ambedkar's message. In this article, writer wants to say that Ambedkar actually gave this advice and gave this warning also, that using nationalism in the public discourse or in speeches, it never guarantees that the government is focusing on development totally. They are taking care of the people. Maybe they are using it as a clout, and maybe they are using it to go towards arbitrary ambience and these maybe fascist tendencies. So there is no guarantee, if somebody is talking about nationalism, Deshbhakti and all, there is no guarantee that these people are genuine and they are totally working for the progress of this country. This is no guarantee, because Hitler also talked about nationalism and all these extreme discourses. Okay, so motherland, nationalism, these things are not a guarantee to be a genuine political leader. So this is the important quote that D. Raja is quoting here. And he says he's actually criticizing a lot to the present government, so it's more a political one, and it's a major evaluation according to him, that all these institutions and all, they are under extreme pressure, and India looks divided today, and many issues we are observing that these are not good things for the future. So it's a political one, there is no need to discuss that. Uncertain times, we will discuss this important issue regarding the oil needs and these waivers and all, they are going to end. So the present situation is discussed here. GS paper 2 would be important here. The IS shadow. In this article, the Sri Lanka's update is there. They are saying that the group has taken the responsibility, and it has links with ISIS group. And these are important developments which are really scary in this region. You see, some Sri Lankan youth, they were inclined towards this group, these extreme groups and all, and now some intelligence was really there, but what went wrong with the administration, what went wrong with the top leaders and all, that is to be assessed. But certainly this situation is not good, and bizarre things are coming out that they said more than 360 people are dead, but now they are lowering this amount. They are saying that it's some kind of a calculation error, and that's really bizarre. Calculation error. They are saying that only 250 people, they are dead, not 360. So I don't know what kind of mistake is there, that they are not able to count dead people in a correct way. So they are on a different particular numbers now. But this issue of ISIS is extremely important, because they are not holding any territory today. After these attacks by America and all these powers like Russia and all, they are dissipated, and they are hiding into some hideouts in the Syrian deserts and all, Iraq deserts and all these areas. They are totally spread, but they are certainly radicalizing these vulnerable youths in this world, and social media and the internet is the medium that they are heavily using for that. Okay, so and that's really a scary thing, because vulnerable youth are available in every country which can be radicalized very easily. So yesterday when I was making a point that did not mean that and that was not a justification that unemployed youth would become terrorists. It's not a truth. It's not a justification. I was saying that those people are vulnerable, and there is a difference between being vulnerable and becoming terrorist. Okay, these are two different things. So always listen these words carefully, and don't jump towards any conclusion. Please do not listen to these articles and editorials with a prejudice, because politics is really a bad thing. It has done a serious harm to the perception of this country, and especially for the youth. They are actually judging many things with some premonitions, with some prejudices. So that's not a good thing with these articles, because this exam is extremely specific and precise, and you need to have very authenticated and refined opinions about things, and you cannot manage with these rushing of the ideas. Okay, so do not judge very soon. Listen carefully. So that's the thing. These are not important for us, so we will discuss these issues now. This article we are going to discuss, it is about the LGBT community and the very important decision by the Madras High Court, important for GS paper 2 and GS paper 1 both. Okay, it is about the equality also. Now, illustrative case. In this article, Surit Parasharthi says that there is no immunity available for the judiciary and the judges, like it is there for MPs and the legislative assembly people. These are elected people, and they are most of the times less educated, less professional, and less meritorious than these judges, but they are having immunity because these are democratically elected people, and judges, they do not have these kind of immunities. So it's a major thing in India, and judge is an impartial referee in all these disputes, and he is an unbiased interpreter of the constitution. But you see, the issue is there that law should be equal to all. It does not matter that the person is coming from Supreme Court, the person is coming from some other place, and if the immunity is not there, then the equality should be prevailed here. In this case, when the female junior assistant, she alleged that CJI Ranjan Gogoi, and she complained it to 22 judges there, and simultaneously it was a heavy complaint from her side. So now something went wrong with the decision of Ranjan Gogoi there, and prima facie it was a problem, because he himself became a member of that particular panel, a special panel that was created by him, and he certainly used the master of the roster system, which he objected heavily last year in January. So nothing is changed in Supreme Court. It looks like that because CJI is using its powers, and he himself became a member there, although he is no more attached to that particular panel which is created there. But in the primary conditions, he became that, and he listened to that particular case, and outrightly Secretary General of Supreme Court, he rejected this particular allegation, and he said that it's a bigger plot to malign the image of judiciary and specifically Supreme Court, because many important cases, they are in line, and this is a particular tactics to make Supreme Court playable, because a parallel case is also there where a petition is there and important evidences are given by Mr. Benz. He is an advocate in Supreme Court. So an advocate in Supreme Court is saying that I have proper evidences, and he has submitted all these things in sealed covers, that it's a bigger plot to malign the image of CJI, and ultimately judiciary is the target there, because many hurdles it is creating in these ambitious people's goals, and politicians, corporateers, and some Supreme Court lobbyists and all, and who were involved in some kind of a data jugglery, and they released some wrong information regarding Anil Mani's case, and these people were involved in this particular plot, and it's a intentional targeting of CJI. So it's not a right allegation by the lady, and this is how parallel cases are there, parallel allegations are there, and they are totally opposing. One is accusing CJI, one is saving CJI's position. So what needs to be done now? Special bench is created now, and yesterday in very harsh words, Justice Arun Mishra said that the people who are trying to interfere in our working, who are trying to force us, suppress us, and who are trying to manipulate Supreme Court's working here, and they are trying to make this institution playable just like other institutions, so they do not know that they are playing with fire. In very strong words, Arun Mishra said these things. That means something is really ominous here, and undercover the information which they have got from Mr. Pence, that is having something really big. So this case is going towards different heights, and now the institutional integrity is also under a lot of pressure and irreparable damage. This phrase is being used by CJI and other important judges, because they say the reputation and the trust is everything that a judge has. So we cannot deal this case in a normal way. These are very specific conditions, but the writer Parasharthi says that justice and the system is equal to all, and maybe there are allegations against CJI, but the natural justice should be prevailed here, and the due process of law, that should go according to its own way, the way of natural justice and the way of laws. We cannot create exceptions for CJI or any person coming from a particular body, and maybe the judiciary. This is equal for all, and that is the trouble. And in the starting, CJI has made a mistake there by becoming a member of the same panel. So this is the message by writer here. He says that Article 14 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, we are a party to it, and it says that courts, tribunals and judicial system, it is equal for all. NALSA as authority, we had created this statutory authority. There also it is said that law and justice system is equal for all. So Supreme Court needs to step up here, and collectively it has to show us that it can establish these precedents, and it is not on mistake there. And certainly it has to take a neutral stand, and it should not discriminate CJI and other important allegations on some ordinary people, because if there is an allegation by a lady, then it's a serious one. Although these are specific circumstances, we all can understand this issue, but the natural justice and the systematic way, that would go according to the due process law system. Okay, so the Article 32 is also raised here in the protection of CJI and all these important points are being observed. But certainly something very huge is going to come out of this particular issue, and many articles are gonna be continued in upcoming days. In next week we will have very surprising informations. It is expected by many scholars and all. So due process, in this article it remains limited to this due process and the equality of the opportunity here. The due process is integral to the court's foundations and to the constitution's guarantee of the equal protection. Okay, although it may be a specific circumstance, but courts should never forget the issue of equality. And the lady junior assistant, she has this equal opportunity, and you cannot outrightly reject her claims here. Okay, and these allegations, they need to be scrutinized in a normal manner according to the natural justice system. Okay, so these basic procedural norms, they should be respected. Okay, next issue, uncertain times. We had claimed a lot that we are becoming closer and closer to America, and we are at great equations, but now this incident is questioning some authorities here. And when America is so stern on its decision against Iran and barring all these countries, 6 countries, from importing oil from Iran, and we are 10% dependent. That means we are importing more than 10% of its crude oil of our total capacity from Iran, total need from Iran. So it's a big thing, and now we need to find alternatives here, and very soon we need them, because in the strategic reserves capacity we are not having bigger amounts here, and certainly other countries are also there as an alternative. Saudi Arabia is there, and other OPEC countries are also there. But you see, the issue of America, there is a shale gas boom. Because of that, these crude oil prices, they fell down heavily in the last 4-5 years, and America is also exporting crude oil from there, and it is lowering its amount, it's lowering its prices actually, so that people would be interested to buy oil from America. And we are also buying oil from America, and this number is gonna rise here, because 10% of our need is not gonna be fulfilled now because of these sanctions, and waiver is gonna end on 1st of May. It was a 180-day waiver, and we are not able to do anything about it because the negotiations are failed now, and now we need to go towards alternative. So this ever volatile global oil market, it is creating many troubles, and it creates troubles many times in our economy. And you see, these are sporadic events, and they are sudden events because we are totally dependent and our capacities are not much, and more than 80% now we are importing from other countries, and out of that 80%, 10% we are dependent on Iran. So certainly the politics, the oil politics is gonna change, and all these countries which are the target, mainly the Middle East countries, which these are the targets by America, and they are looking at a future where dependence on the oil economy is not gonna be there much. That is why Saudi Arabia is finding different alternatives. So things are changing in the Middle East, but these are also changing with America, and America is exporting more now, and these sanctions and all, these are gonna benefit America economically also. So we cannot say that it is only about the nuclear politics. It is about something else also. It is about the economics, world economics, and world trade, and these other beneficial issues for America also. Okay, so it is now up to us what we are going to decide about our capacities. One important solution is that we need bigger investment in the renewables here. We have set a target of 40% energy mix by 2030, and by 2022 we have 175 gigawatt target from the non-conventional sources and the renewable energy targets. So more and more investment is gonna lower the dependence on these conventional imports. Okay, so this is the message here, and these oil prices are again on a rise. We may see high inflations in upcoming months, because it has risen up to $75 per barrel. It was $71 per barrel last week, but it's a jump now, and now we would have to face some inflation in India also. Breaking new grounds. The next important article says about Madras High Court's important decision, and it is a path-breaking and historic decision because historical injustice was there with the LGBT community and the transgender community, and now they are getting civil rights, equal rights as other people have. They can have rights now regarding marriage, succession, and inheritance as other people have, because now the systematic acceptance is there that these are humans, they have emotions, and maybe sexual orientations and sexual differences are there for sure these are there, but they have their own rights on them. They can decide about their gender, and they will inherit properties, and they can be involved in marriage and all these important bondings. And Special Marriage Act 1955 would be important here, and these things are going to be valid here under it. Nalsa Authority versus Union of India in 2014, they also said that these are self-defined genders and they have their own rights. And US Supreme Court in 15 held that fundamental rights to marry is guaranteed to same sex, and there are these specific couples, and these are not males and females, these are transgenders. So this angle is important here. That is why there was discrimination, and now they are saying that they have equal protection clauses. Okay, so these clauses should be there, and this is quoted by K.S. Puttaswamy in Madras High Court, and he says that as we abolished criminalization under section 377 in Navtej Singh Johar case, these people should also be given these equal rights, and it's a major and historic decision here, and these things are really progressive. Okay, and it's a happy moment for whole nation because we are moving towards more and more equality and more acceptances, and these things are really progressive for whole world. The whole world talks about these progressive measures, and maybe these are countering some social conventional norms, but the humanity needs these kind of equalities. Next, in Ukraine, Kyiv is the capital. They have passed now a law strengthening Ukrainian language these are protectionism moves. And you see, a person, a comedian, he is chosen for a presidential post, and he was acting as president in a Russian language comedian, sorry, a TV show. So he was speaking Russian there, and he himself, in normal circumstances, in some rallies also, he was speaking Russian there. So this move is regarding Ukrainian language, and they are countering Russian influence in the eastern part of the Ukraine, where Russia is very active, and it wants to influence a lot, and populations are there which are more Russian inclined, and they are speaking Russian more in number. So it is to counter that dominance, and they are saying that we are going to give reservations to these people who are appreciating Ukrainian language. They are using Ukrainians, and the people who are working in radio and other important media houses and all. So the people who are speaking Ukrainians, they will be reserved. So this move comes after a person becomes a president who himself speaks Russian. Okay, so this is some interesting event here, and a drama is going on now because many allegations are also there, because this thing is not liberal. And they say that the document said that attempts to introduce official multilingualism in Ukraine is unconstitutional. According to them, they are going towards an extreme, and they are saying that we are going to protect our language and our constitution that supports Ukraine's language, and introducing multilingualism and allowing it is unconstitutional. So this is a language drama. It has just come after the election of the new president. Next, private equity and venture capital investment. I explained to you the venture capital investment, private equity, when people buy shares. So these investments are at all-time high, and that's a happy news, because the private investment is a big need today, and public and private investment both are extremely needed just to spur the growth. And these are halted. That is why the growth is not coming, and that is why companies are failing. That is why they are not able to pay loans and all, and this NPA crisis is there. So it's a kind of a good thing that the venture capital funding and all these things are on a boost, and they are rising at all-time high now. Next, tea board discusses ways to boost consumption. You see, India is a big consumer. Tea started in China, and the Britishers brought it in eastern part of India, in Assam and Darjeeling area of West Bengal, and they started it. Now India is a major producer and a major consumer both. We are exporting tea heavily, and recently India and China signed an MOU so that the tea consumption, it rises in Western countries and USA and all, and already it is getting a boost there. People are consuming less coffee and more tea these days, because these disease issues and herbal issues, these are there, and they have found that the green tea and all, they are beneficial for health. So these things are on a rise. And Coffee Board was looking at this particular problem, that coffee consumption is declining in this world. So they were trying to bring some initiatives there, but Tea Board is also bringing this initiative that tea consumption should improve. And recently we heard about the Asian Tea Alliance. It is by 5 countries: India, China, Japan, and Sri Lanka and Indonesia. Their tea trade associations, they are coming together, and they are trying to improve the per capita consumption. You see, in India it is only 786 grams per person, and it is actually on a lower side if we look at the average, and the population is huge in India. That is why this per capita consumption is less, and they want to bring growth in that, because this particular industry is struggling with many things, and the issue of inhuman conditions for the tea workers in these tea gardens and all. There are many problems. Human rights issues are reported from there. So things need some improvement here. Okay. Next, Gomati Barmuthu has now won the gold in 800 meter race category, and Shivpal Singh from the javelin throw, he has got the silver award here, silver medal, and some bronze medal and all. We are discussing on a daily basis. This Asian Athletic Championship is going on in Qatar, and Gomati Murmuthu, PU Chitra that we discussed yesterday, Tejinder Pal Singh Toor, they have won gold medal here, and these are the list for silver medalist and the bronze medalist here. Okay, So that's important. Swapna Burman, remember that she has won silver medal in heptathlon. This is the first medal here, heptathlon. Very important category where 7 important steps are there, and in this category we have won the first medal there. So these things can be asked. Now WHO says 1 in 10 children, they did not get vaccinated in 2016. That's a scary issue, because immunization, it is saving lakhs of children's of life, and some disease like even some big disease like cervical cancer, these are vaccine preventable. Diphtheria, hepatitis, measles, mumps, pertussis, pneumonia, polio, rotavirus, diarrhea, rubella, tetanus, they all are vaccine prevented disease. Rotavirus diarrhea, we developed a Rotavac for that. And for the measles, we were discussing some days back that less supply is there because of the particular condition. Less children are getting vaccinated, and this issue is rising. More and more cases are there for this measles incident, and many lives are lost because of that. So vaccine preventable these diseases are, and if the supply is a problem, then certainly we are risking many lives here. So we need investment, we need more and more production here. Okay, so these issues are really problematic. Some famous vaccines like DTP, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis. So if these are less in production and less in supply, so they are putting many lives at serious risks. Okay, so this is very important. Now Antarctic penguins, they are suffering huge breeding failure because of the habitat loss. You see this particular ice cap is melting very fast, and British Antarctic survey was done. They used satellite data, and they said that many dead birds we are looking. This is a birds category, aves category. These are not mammals, and I have given you a question regarding that. These are mainly found in the southern hemisphere in the Antarctic area, and normally where 25,000 penguin pairs mate each year, they found that in 2016, when abnormally warm and stormy weather broke up the sea ice on which penguins normally raise their young ones, many chicks are dead. So this is a problematic issue, and an issue related with the climate change. So they may ask you a question regarding penguins and all. Now from the Tiwa community in Assam, it's a harvest festival. They are taking part here, and I have given you a question regarding the harvest festivals, and look for the list from all the northeast states, and mainly these conventional and mainly these harvest festivals. They are very important for the UPSC exam. Now these are the questions. Try to look for the answers and look for the additional data there. Certainly these things will be there. You will find in the prelims examination. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani. PDF you will get there on this particular group, and send me a request. I would approve. Thanks a lot. Keep